everybody, if you didn't know already, it's Lila here ready to teach you. Alright, so I've got some knowledge for you, it's a lot, so stay with me. Maybe the easy awful drawings appearing on the screen will help you keep up. Water, H2O, impossible to escape. Nice voice crack. Well, here's some science about water. Water has no charge, so it's neutral. H2O, water, has an even amount of protons and electrons. Wait, sorry, I just remembered an old water joke. If H2O is water, what is H2O for? Drinking! Get it? I know it's awful. Back to water. Polarity. Water molecules are polar because there is an uneven distribution of electrons between the hydrogen and oxygen atoms. Wait, if water molecules are polar, are they ice? Yeah, another bad joke. I know. Please stop me. Well, you can't because you're watching this video, so you must suffer my bad jokes. Mwahaha. Cohesion. It's the attraction between molecules of the same substance. Well, humans have the same molecules, right? Imagine all the pickup line possibilities. Well, I need to stop. Water attracts water, okay? Some insects and spiders can walk on water because of cohesion. Maybe that's what they want you to think, and Jesus lives on in water bugs. I need a minute to rethink everything. Still talking about water, I have a page of script dedicated to water. Well, then there's adhesion. It's the attraction between water molecules and different molecules. Honestly, at this point, I think these terms were just made up so nerds could use very corny pickup lines. Back to science. Cohesion and adhesion produce capillary, which is upward movement against gravity of water through small tubes. Plants do this. Isn't it cool? Fun fact. 1 out of 550 million water molecules naturally separate into a hydrogen ion and a hydroxide ion. Hydrogen ions are more on the acidic side of the pH scale, and hydroxide ions are made more basic, which now brings us to the pH scale. The pH scale indicates the concentration of hydrogen ions that ranges on a scale from 0 to 14. A pH of 7 is neutral. A pH of 0 to 7 is more acidic, which means there's a higher concentration of hydrogen, and above 7 to 14 is more basic, which means there's a lower concentration of hydrogen and more oxygen. Actually, this is a great comeback if someone ever calls you basic for whatever reason. You're ordering a pumpkin spice coffee, you're so basic. Actually, human blood has a pH of about 7.4, so if you round it, I'm neutral. Well, pure water stands at 7 on the pH scale, and tomato juice is actually more acidic than acid rain. Weird. But fun fact, people in the 1700s used to think tomatoes were poisonous because people would die after eating them. But the fancy rich folk that ate them, well, they ate them on pewter plates made of lead. And you know, lead is toxic. So the tomato would sort of grab the toxic stuff from the lead and people would eat it and die. Well, to be clear, tomatoes are not poisonous. I don't know what this has to do with anything, but it's interesting. But you know bleach, right? It has such a strong smell to it, and I thought of it as an acid, but it's about 12.5-ish on the pH scale, which, if you couldn't guess, it's more basic than acidic. Now on to something entirely different. Macromolecules. Sounds scary, right? No? Okay. Well, I'd say the whole thing is simple, but I'd be lying, so I'll try to break it down and make it a little easier. A macromolecule is a very large molecule. Macro means large, micro means little. Protein, lipids, carbohydrates, and nucleic acids are macromolecules. Macromolecules are created by a bunch of monomers. Monomers are like building blocks. Then there's carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are basically sugars. They function as short-term energy, and their molecules normally found in a ring shape. I guess science liked it enough to put a ring on it, right? Well, carbohydrates are comprised of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in a 1-to-1 ratio. Monosaccharides are the monomers to carbohydrates. For example, glucose, fructose, and galactose are monosaccharides. And if you didn't guess, glucose is really sweet. So here's a good pickup line. Are you a monomer of glucose? Because you're pretty sweet. Yep. That's about as good as my jokes get. I'm sorry. Disaccharides are 2 monosaccharides like sucrose, lactose, and maltose. They are also There are also polysaccharides that are made of combinations of monosaccharides and disaccharides. Starch is a polysaccharide. Potatoes are starch, and a fun way to think of it is I have a polysaccharide of potatoes. And now there's lipids. Lipids are fats. They function as long-term energy, also made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Well, they're kind of made of glycerides. And glycerides are made of one glycerol and a different amount of fatty acids. Mono is 1, di is 2, tri is 3, so I think you can imagine figuring out how many fatty acids monoglycerides, diglycerides, and triglycerides have. In lipids, there are saturated fats and unsaturated fats. Saturated fats are solid like butter, but they're not very healthy. Their structure is all one big line. Unsaturated fats are unstable and not in a solid form. For example, in olive oil. Their structure just kind of falls apart at the end. These are the healthier ones. Then there's protein. I personally don't get a lot because I'm a vegetarian, but whatever, herbivores can get protein too. Protein makes muscles and is all around good for you. They are made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Amino acids are the monomers of protein. There are 4 types of proteins: structural proteins like skin, storage proteins, including the protein found in egg whites, contractile proteins like muscles, and transport proteins like hemoglobin. A funny way to remember that hemoglobin is a transport protein is hemoglobin kind of looks like it's spelled as hemoglobin, and if they do exist, goblins walk. Granted, it's stupid to think of it like that, but why not? It works. Not very funny though. Then there are steroids. If it wasn't obvious, these are proteins too. People use them to get ripped, but just hit the gym and you won't have to inject yourself with variants of testosterone. Steroids can actually pose serious health risks like kidney problem or failure, liver damage, an enlarged heart, high blood pressure, and changes in blood cholesterol that probably will increase the risk of strokes and heart attacks even in young people. So the gym doesn't sound so bad, right? Nucleic acids. Those are cool. They are polymers of nucleotides. Polymers are just monomers, and nucleotides are organic molecules that serve as monomer units for nucleic acids. When you hear nucleic acids, you may or may not think about DNA. It depends on whether or not you've taken a biology class. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. The main role of DNA in the cell is the long-term storage of information. You could call it the blueprint of life. Now, I bet RNA isn't very popular, but can you guess what it stands for? 3 seconds to answer. 1, 2, 3. Ribonucleic acid. It's vital for living things too. If you didn't guess, it's also nucleic acid. Now, let's talk all about enzymes. I've got a lot to say about these things. Most enzymes are proteins. Enzymes have an odd-shaped area called the active site where substrates can combine. The active site is specifically shaped for the substrate. Another pickup line opportunity. You are the substrate to my enzyme. I guarantee you that if you use this line, you will get all the ladies. Now back to science. So the substrate is held at the active site with weak bonds because it won't stay there forever. Because eventually something called induced fit will happen. Sounds like a temper tantrum little Daisy had when she didn't get a pony for her birthday. I see why she's mad. Her parents named her Daisy. Who does that? As for the induced fit, what it actually means is the active site can change its shape even more to bind that substrate. The enzyme can either build up or break down the substrate that physically bind to it, and the resulting object is what is called the product. Fun fact, enzymes are pretty nifty. They can speed up reactions for effectiveness in the body. And another fun fact is that enzymes often end in ASE rather than OSE. Enzymes can break down disaccharides to make certain sugars easier to digest, like lactose and maltose. Lactase and maltase are there to save the day. Be certain to thank your enzymes every day, but for the people who are lactose intolerant, you know who you are. Well, you guys can be angry with them for failing to do their job correctly. I suppose that's all I've got about macromolecules, water, and the pH scale. Thanks for watching. I hope this information is all correct. If not, sorry, we tried.